What's going on, guys? It's Shanks here, coming at you with a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile, and today we have Yosenju's, and this is the stun variant, because that's my preferred variant, because I like it when other people can't play, but I can play, because I'm a sick bastard. No, but really, I love this deck. I've been testing it a lot. It's extremely budget, as you can see. Every part of it's like 50 cents. The most expensive thing, if you run them, which I do, are the anti-spell fragrances, and if you don't even run those, you just gotta pay for vanities, and Raigeki is really good in the deck, and the extra deck doesn't really matter, except for Tiger King is the only one I've ever made, and I made him once, and actually I think I made one Castle, but I mean, when 101 gets reprinted, you can just get a 101 instead. It works almost the same way, because the monster is an attack anyways. But you rarely XYZ summon, so Vanities is staple, and it's such a good and fun deck that you can get for so little. It's great, and I love it. So I'm going to share this profile. Alright, so up first, we got your basics, 3,1, 3,2, and 3,3. You need all three of these in the stun variant, because you need to keep your hand advantage, and when you summon... Alright, so I'll just break this down real quick. When you summon any three of these Yosenjus, you can summon a different one immediately, so if you have all three in your hand, you can kind of loop them, because at the end of your turn, they'll all go back to your hand. All the Yosenjus, they'll go back to your hand. So you can summon comma 1, then go to 2, go to 3, you can go 3, 1, 2, you can do it all different order. But like the Thunder family, if you play 3 and then you play the 2, you can summon another 3 with 2's effect, but you can't summon 3 and then another 3, if you get what I mean. So basically, if you have a multitude of Yosenjus in your hand, then you can just go off, and that's why I run 3 of each, so you can get them, because they're also searchable by Tenki, and this guy has a searching effect I'll get to in a moment, but basically you want these in your hand as fast as possible, and until you get those, you just use your traps. So yeah, it's kind of amazing. So comma 1, he has the ability of, if you look down here, I'm pretty sure it's the one, he's the bouncing one, but he can only use it once while he's face up on the field. So when you summon him, he goes back to the hand anyways, so the next turn you can bounce again. So basically, you can normal summon him every turn and get a free compulse every turn, which is beautiful. It's only face-up cards that your opponent controls, but it's still beautiful. Next card you got comma 2, probably the worst and also the best at the same time, because he's got 1,800 attack, which is, he has 16, so it's not that good, and he has 15, but 18's the only good part, because his effect can be useful. It's very situational. It allows him to attack directly, but all the damage he does is halved. So say if you're at 18, you attack directly, you do 900 damage, which isn't good. But when you get to comma 3, they combo nice together. And of course he goes back to the hand at the end, but they combo nice together, because comma 3's effect is, while you control comma 3, if another Yosenju inflicts battle damage, you can search a card. So he can attack directly. Say if you have like nothing, you only have like a Mirror Force set or something, they have a big monster, you can summon comma 2, then go into comma 3, and you can swing directly and get a search, which is very helpful. You can get a secret move, which I'll get to that in a minute. It's the best card in the deck. But yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, well, I'm pretty sure you can only use his effect once per turn. So multiple commas isn't that good, comma 3, but all these other guys are the ones you want to have multiple of, because of course you can bounce more and have your beat sticks. But yeah, it's just essentially, this card's the searcher, and this card can help you, enable you to search, and it's your big beat stick, but that's the only thing that is good for it. It's kind of the worst one. But yeah, so that's why I run 3 of the entire core. Next up, we got Yosenju Shinshu L. I don't run R because I don't pendulum. This is the stun variant, but L is great because you can put him in the pendulum zone just right off the bat, and he's also searchable by comma 3. You can put him into the pendulum zone, so if any Yosenjus would be destroyed by a card effect, so it can be when they Mirror Force, you can just get rid of him and stop the Mirror Force, which is super helpful because Mirror Force kills this deck. So his other ability is, when he's a monster, if you normal summon him, he goes to defense, and they can only target him with card effects, not your other Yosenjus, which is very helpful sometimes, especially since you can go comma 1, then 2, then 3, and then if you want to, you can summon this guy in defense. And he's also level 4 for rank 4 plays, which rarely happen. So yeah, that's why he's a pretty cool card to have. Um, yeah, so I run 2 just because he's good to draw into sometimes. And then the last monster you have is 2 Yosenju Sujik. So just like, oh, by the way, this guy, Yosenju Shinshu L, doesn't go back to the hand of the end phase, which is pretty cool. Because he can stay around for this card, which I'll get to in a little bit. But so next you got Yosenju Sujik. And Sujik he's like the other ones where if he's normal summoned at the end phase, he goes back to the hand. But his ability is that during either player's damage step, when you have a Yosenju that battles a monster, you can discard him and they gain 1,000 attack. And his other ability is that he can make Yosenju gain 1,000 attack until the end of the turn while he's face up on the field. So you can go 1, 2, 3, and then you can summon him and make someone gain 1,000 attack, which is pretty awesome. And he's also kind of like a pseudo honest, so that's really helpful. But yeah, so that's why I run 2 of those, because why not run at least a few honests? But I only need 2. You don't need more because he's searchable. You only need 2. So yeah, now onto the spells. We have 3 Fire Formation Tenki, because everything besides Shinshu is a Beast Warrior, so you can basically search the entire deck with Tenki, which is awesome. Also gives them 100 attack, and if you keep summoning them, just makes them better beat sticks. 3 MST, because Mirror Force kills this deck. It destroys it, and back row's kind of bad against it anyways, like Bottomless is too, because when you summon any of these Yosenjus, their normal summons start for when I was playing, so I'm gonna take that person's word for it. Since I didn't look up the rulings, I didn't know that, and I didn't feel like looking it up, but I'm pretty sure that's how that works. So yeah, Bottomless hurts it too. So you gotta run the 3 MST. Just get rid of back rows, get rid of all the stupid cards. It's just great, and I love it. And also end phase MST is really helpful, but like when they end phase and you MST their back row, it's great. Up next, you got 3 Duality. Very rarely special summon in this deck since they're all normal summon. So on deck, so you're not going to be doing massive damage, and Upstart's a good 1-for-1, but I think Duality's better, especially if you don't special summon. So yeah, I run 3 Duality. Up next, you got my trolley tech card, the Seal of Orichalcos. Now, if you guys don't know what this does, I'll just explain it to you real fast. It makes all monsters you control gain 500. Every single one. And you cannot special summon from the extra deck while you have it, which is kind of meh, but you don't really go into rank 4 plays or anything. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, once per turn, it can't be destroyed by card effects, so it takes 2 MSTs to get this thing down, which is great, because basically they're going to be like, I can't get rid of this. This is just stupid. They're not going to waste all their resources when you have so many traps, and you can just make all your guys gain 500, so when you summon them, this guy's a 23, this guy's a 21, this guy's a 2000, and then Tenki can make them gain an extra 100, and you can just make all of your monsters threatening. And Seal of Orichalcos also, one thing I want to say, it destroys all special summon monsters you control when you activate it. So if you have any rank 4s sitting out, then it'll kill them, which is the only downside. And the other downside, you only run 1, because the only other downside is that you can only activate once per duel, and you don't want another one to draw when you have 2, and you already played 1. It would be cloggy, and you don't run terraforming, but this deck's pretty fast, and it cycles through everything, and it stuns. So, well, it's not that fast as much as it just searches a lot, and it stuns your opponent so you can get more cards and draw more cards, so you'll end up drawing to this anyways. So, I run 1, so it's great. And then, of course, you got your classic Snatch Steal, take their monster, and just go in for game by summoning all these guys, bounce back their other monsters, and Raigeki, because it's big game finishes. And one thing I want to say about Seal Orichalcos, it's not hard to get 4 Yosenjus in your hand, and if you have Orichalcos and any 4 of these Yosenjus in your hand, you instantly win. So that's very helpful, because of course, say if you have 2 of this guy, you can bounce 2 monsters they have, and then have 2 of these guys, and you can just go in, you win every time. So Orichalcos is extremely helpful. I've played about 15 games roughly with this deck, and every single time I played Orichalcos, which is around like 10 times I actually got to play it a lot, I won. Like I have more than like a 75% win ratio with this deck just because of Seal of Orichalcos. It's that good. I don't get why people don't run it. They probably forgot about it. And since your opponent can't, since both players have their own field spells now, They can both have their own field spells. They can't play a card over your Seal of Orichalcos and just get rid of it. So they have to expend a bunch of resources, or they just have to deal with it. The only thing I do want to say is that you have to pretty much side this out in the mirror match. And Yosenju's a kind of common deck, so you'll see that a lot. You have to side it out, though, because combo 1 can bounce it back to your hand, and then you won't be able to play it again, and it's just a dead card. So you pretty much, you either want to side it out or be confident in the fact that you're going to draw it first and win early. But yeah, so this just turns this into a strong deck. And as I already said, Snatch, Steal, and Raigeki, you just need those. Alright, so for the traps, best card in the entire deck. Up there at Seal of Orichalcos and all the common 3s. Yosenju Secret Move. So it's basically Infernity Barrier, but you have to control a Yosenju card, and all monsters you have, if any, have to be Yosenju monsters. So that's why I don't special summon much, because it makes this card not live, and you need this card to be live. And the Secret Move can negate everything, and the main reason why I run Shinshu L is because you can place it in the Pendulum Zone, and you can just always have a live Secret Move, which is beautiful. And then Comma 3 can also search Secret Move. So that's awesome. That's just amazing. That's why it's probably the best card in the deck, because that's what makes this a stun deck. It wouldn't be that good without Secret Move. So you gotta run 3. You gotta. Alright, so next up we got 3 Vanity's Emptiness. Self-explanatory. You don't special summon. At the end phase, your monsters go back to your hand. So unless they have MST or Mirror Force to kill your monsters, they're not getting over Vanity's Emptiness. So it just stuns them out real hard. Makes them not be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is amazing. Next up, we got Mirror Force. Gotta run 3. Just stops everything. You leave your board wide open at the end of every turn, unless you have a Shinshu L on the board. But you leave yourself wide open, so you have to Mirror Force all their monsters. So yeah, you gotta run 3. Got it. And then for what I run 2 of, I run 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance because the only bad part about this is that you have to set Tenki or Duality once you have it in your Snatch Steals and stuff. But it also doesn't allow your opponent to play Necros, which is amazing. Can't play Shadows, which is awesome. Satellars can't Rhoda, which is pretty awesome. It stops a lot of things, and I love having 2 of it in my deck. And of course, you can activate your Dualities and Tenkis and then flip this, which is real sneaky. So yeah, the only largest downside I could find is when you play Seal of Orichalcos, I actually lost a game because I didn't get to actually activate this. I set my Seal of Orichalcos in the field spell zone because I had Anti-Spell Fragrance out, and instead of being able to flip it the next turn and going in, they Night Beamed it. So yeah, they didn't MST it. I don't know why. They Night Beamed it. So that sucked. So I lost my Seal of Orichalcos, and I ended up losing the game, which is just awful. I've played this around 15 to 20 times, though, and every time I played Seal Orichalcos, I win. I didn't get to activate it that duel. I probably would have won if I did, because he wouldn't have gotten over it, but yeah. So, 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance. I like it at 2. May take 1 out, may add 1 in. You don't know, I might side it, but yeah, it's a great card. And then for my 1-ofs, Compulse, because it's Compulse. Solemn Warning, because it negates everything. Bottomless, because it stops like every hard-to-kill monster in the game. And Threatening Roar, because you leave yourself open, so why make it so they can kill you after you do your whole turn. And then in the side deck right here, I have another. These aren't side decks. These are just cards you might either want to fit in, or I might try to make room for in the future. You got Threatening Roar, because the second one would always be great. Extra Net. This is a fun tech card I found. People should side this. Actually, it's not that good to side. It's only good siding in Yosenju, but it's basically, if a monster is special summoned from the extra deck, that player who summoned it, their opponent gets to draw a card. So say if I'm playing against my opponent and they are playing Burning Abyss, they summon 3 Dantes, I get to draw 3 cards. It's like an Eternal Max C. And since you don't special summon from the extra deck really at all in this deck, it's just great to have because it lets you plus. The only downside I found for it was if you overlay, they get to draw a card, so it's not that good. Keep that in mind. It's a decent tech for certain decks, but yeah. And also, just like how you play Anti-Spell Fragrance, you can do all your XYZing and then play Extra Net, which is just great. But yeah, I might put one in. I'm not sure. Might just keep it sided in, but yeah. Next card we got Divine of Wind of Mist Valley. Just great because these guys go back to the hand at the end of every turn, and they're all wind. And they will go back, and then you can summon another one, and then that will go back at the end of the turn. And you'll essentially just keep on looping Yosenjus and keep on increasing your advantage. So Divine Wind's great. Only problem, easy to MST. So if they MST, even when it's face up, it's done. And essentially you just lost your Divine Wind, which is kind of everything in the OTK build. So yeah. I might put that in. I'm not sure. I might put that in, and a Seal of Orichalcos, and a Terraforming, because you can play this over Seal of Orichalcos if you want to be able to overlay, which would be very, very useful. But also, forgot to mention, you can MST your own Seal of Orichalcos and just not use its Avoid Destruction effect, and just get rid of it if you want to overlay. So yeah, that's cool. And then the last card over here is Yosenju Misok. It's Catastor, but instead of Dark Monsters, it's Wind. And that is kind of cool, and it's only when it's special summon it goes back to the hand. So if you summon this, it does not go back to the hand, which is good and bad, because it makes Secret Move live, but you can't have a clear field, and they can just do crazy things. They can easily kill him, and it kind of makes you go minus a little bit. But yeah, and one more card I forgot to mention. If you want, you can run Mass Change second and summon Masked Hero Divine Wind. So he's basically, your opponent can only attack once while you have Divine Wind, and if he destroys an opponent's monster, you get to draw a card. The only downside is that you can't use Secret Move if you have him on the field, so that's pretty bad. But yeah, it's not necessarily a bad card. I'm not going to make room for it with Mass Change second. I don't see it being worth it, but you can. And then for the extra deck, this isn't really that important, but you run a 101. I just want to say, the only ones I've ever made in like 20 games, I made one or maybe two Castles and a Tiger King, because it gets me tanky. So yeah, and that's really it. And then it can also negate effects. But I run Silent Honor Arc, Cairn Gorgon, because he's just good, and a 101 can get over monsters and have a good monster on board. Pappy, because he can make a defense position monster go to attack, and you can just OTK or finish off the game from there. Cowboy, because, I did make a Cowboy, because you can burn for 800 and win for game. Exiton, because he's Judgment Dragon. Ragnazero, because Cleforts and other decks. Castle, because he's amazing, that's why I run 2. Probably the best XYZ that's ranked 4 in the game right now. We got Dweller, because it's Dweller. 2 Tiger King, because you can easily make 2 Tiger King if you ever have to. Kagutsuchi, just for fun, because he can, you can just mill a bunch of cards just for fun, and then if a Bujin Beast type warrior, which is him, you can control it be destroyed by battle or card effect. You can detach a material, and he won't die. So he's like Maestroke, which I also put in here because it's a pseudo Book of Moon, but he's kind of like Maestroke. So he's not that bad. But I would never make him. I just have him in there for the novelty of having him in there. But in the next card, Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. I haven't made it in this deck yet, but I do want to say decks that make rank 4, this is one of the best XYZs in the game right now. If you haven't seen this, a lot of people, it's an expensive card, but I know a lot of people who don't even know what this is. You detach 2 materials, target an opponent's monster, halves their attack, and then you get half that back. So essentially, when you swing into that monster, you're doing 2,500 damage, which is beautiful, and it's just a great card. So yeah, you gotta run 1. Maestroke, because like Kagutsuchi, it can avoid destruction, but you can do this with Shinshu L, so that's good. Has 23 body, for the defense, and you can also flip cards, so that's nice. And then Heartland Draco, because for those games where you just need to swing for 2,000 directly, you can. And he can't be attacked if you have Tenki on board, which is amazing. So yeah, that's why I run it. And that was the entire deck, actually. Wow. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. In the comments, tell me if you have a tech that I haven't seen, or just some crazy tech that could be great in the deck. Please let me know. Let me know if you like the Seal of Orichalcos. I felt like that was the best tech ever, and it's wicked funny, because you can steal souls. But yeah, so thanks for watching. Share, because sharing means caring. This is Shanks, and I'm out. Peace.